will be entering the lobby because TSM come out on top, but with so many teams overlooking, this still might be the end of their game.
Yeah, zone's closing. They want to get the res, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to. Use whatever cover you can have and maybe just commit as a 2. Leave Reps on his own.
No smokes to play with as well. The Black Hole's going to go down to try and protect their backs. If they can get to this rock, then maybe TSM can take a second to stabilize. But Fun, he's in the kill feed. He finished off Rep, but now Sykes is going to be in a position where he has to be res. Nocturnal pops the battery and exit under duress.
It's NRG and it's Geo within the zone, making life very difficult for all these teams, but Exit are also doing damage. Verholz finally gets taken down. Here comes Fun though.
Fun is starting to play with his food a little bit here. So many kills being picked up. Sykes is still down here. The Guardian eliminated while all of this carnage is unfolding. DZ will go down as well. Dark Zero out. But look at NRG, that's set up for success here.
Exit are in middle of Geo and NRG. They're the 2 teams we want to watch. Sweet is just keeping on going. Again, it is a train that's being run through. And it's Geo, it's NRG, it's a 3v3.
And with the momentum that NRG have, is there any way that you can say Geo can do something to stop it? The Newcastle defensive wall will go down. Nathan trying to spray, trying to pray. There's a couple of shield swaps on the floor to play with, but at the moment, it looks like NRG are in a position to deal some damage.
NRG just needs 1 kill and they'll be on match point, but they want to win this game. And Sweet takes him down.
TSM need 1 point. 1 point to join NRG on match point. The question is, can Howard Verholz get it done?
And you heard the plan. They want to focus the team in the building. They want to ape it, but the team has gone now. So the plan is going to have to change. It's going to have to develop. They either need 2nd place or they need 1 kill. They'll be on match point.
Oh, and How gets the kill! How gets the kill! Needs to be secured. More damage being done by Imperial How. The CEO puts his team on match point.
Match point achieved, but can they now double it up? It's 2 versus 3. It's Onyx. Here comes the Black Hole. Here comes the Sen.
Missile Swarm goes in as well. It's all up to Verholz and Imperial How as a duo. Verholz will fall down, but job done for TSM. Onyx, however, will be your champions here on World's Edge.
The smokes are abundant. Ascend, though, very well positioned, and Godspot Gilderson's still alive.
Gil putting down the black market, getting what he needs here, denying that for Fnatic as they get eliminated. E36 now trying to run away. Gil trying to clean up some KP at the same time. The lone warrior left from NRG.
This is a game of hide and seek right now. Gilderson's is channeling his inner 13-year-old playing Call of Duty or Halo 3, just hiding from the rest of the lobby. Unbelievable.
Let's tone it back here. With Ascend being a full man squad, GO only up to Juzna, the only one alive. Guild, the only one alive. 2 rats against a full squad that has the high ground.
Unbelievable. 2 teams to 1's gonna make it so difficult for Gildersons. Juzna, look at Juzna's positioning, Vicky. Juzna is inside the building, but has no exit without taking quite a bit of storm damage. So you got to think on low ground, Gildersons and Juzna. The crypto ult is going to scan out Guild. It is very, very grim right now. Ascend, the Portuguese squad who picks up the new Polish rookie in Lufka. With an opportunity to close this out, they likely will. They have complete control. Vicky, I don't see a world where they lose this game, but hey, crazier things have happened.
Sending out the bracelet through the windowsill
1v1.
into the line of sight of Guild. The 1v1 comes in. Gashera ready with the information. Gets the EMP. They're going to fully send it out to Guild. No time as Ascend. Clean that up as an easy win for them there in that game 6.
The monster, the beast, the basketball player, the guard on high ground. Look at their positioning, Vicky. This is the most arcane thing I've ever seen.
This is our house out here. The guard are going to be able to hold on to this high ground, hold on to the rock. They've created the fence line, and they have the height to look at these 2 squads rotate in. The only problem here is Fallout. In less than 45 seconds, that circle is going to close in behind them. They're going to have to move forward.
Let's jump into a listen with the guard. This is going to be insane. Let's jump in with Arcane.
Maybe no, they might not. Just go AFK, go AFK. Can I look down and shoot, you think, or no?
New gen behind us, new gen behind us.
Fighting under us maybe?
We can't drop. Val's in the open. They're gonna focus each other on the far side. Everyone's gonna die except for us. Everyone's gonna die except for us. This is looking. We have to drop, we have to drop, we have to drop. Kill under me. I died. Kill, dead. Play on me. I'm bringing knock.
Yeah.
Wow! They're all gonna die, but instead the guard gets out. Nice shots from Kian, he gets eliminated, the guard's gonna be out.
Currently, E6 are finally finding their momentum here too as the guard get finished up. Exit now fully sending in as E6 doesn't have the health advantage. Exit playing up the rock, but they lose out on sight.
That's right, Fun playing wide right, so incredibly talented. Can he clutch up?
Oh, he gets the beamish though. The hip already connected, but it's up to Nocturnal to clutch up for Exit. E6 has the man advantage, and they win game number 7.
This game could well be TSM's.
It very well could be an Ascend versus TSM finish, depending on how Ascend rotate, but Fnatic, they take to the sky. They could be big party poopers onto TSM here. They could very much drop, try and take this northeast side. TSM are going to have to hold their ground.
Alliance eliminated in the meantime. Fnatic land, but only 2 of them have their feet touch the floor. TSM under duress, House taking damage. The Black Hole's gonna go down. He's desperate to get down to his long-time duo in reps and just about manages to do so.
TSM holding on, they're into the top 5. Guard eliminated. Remember, Ascend are still alive. SSG and Dreamfire are fighting, and Dreamfire have gone down. Fnatic are weak. This could be Ascend versus TSM.
What a moment this is. Reps goes in, should be able to get the shield swap as well. 3 squads remaining. 1 of them is Ascend, 1 Fnatic and 1 TSM. Fnatic eliminated. It is a shootout to become the champions here in London between TSM and Ascend. Charge rifle shots hit. Who has the utility available? Reps, you saw the Seer. He has the exhibit available as well. He can get that down to get the wall hacks out. That's going to give TSM an advantage, but the last thing you want to do here, Dan, is be the first to be knocked.
Have they been tracking the kill feed? Do they know they are going up against another team on match point? Whoever wins here wins this tournament. Post-kill, trying to take an angle, trying to get an area where he can put down suppressing fire to allow Kashira and the rest to get out.
Ascend have got to make the play here. Do they have the EMP available? Is that what they're going to use to try and push from? It does not get more intense than this. Match point leaves us with 2 teams as Kashira makes the play. Kashira for Europe gets the shots in, but no shield break as now the fight goes down.
So important that you get the damage here, and it's done!
TSM up in the skies. House goes down from the heavens.
Scan them soon.
We have a snipe on the roof. There was a Watson team underneath, and there's not a Watson on the roof. So who's zipping? What?
They dropped out a cannon spot.
It's a
Right
cannon
below us.
spot, yeah.
They're right below us now.
Yeah, I'm shooting them. I have 3 angles here. I gotta go back. I gotta scan. We should keep bullying these guys on over here. It's free peaks.
I scanned at 18.
Evan, you Valko.
Coming with you.
Valko, there's a Valko.
I scanned at 10. You guys can peek off that.
They're gonna go low ground. This team is gonna go low ground, and they're gonna insta die. Get ready for the kills.
Okay. You want Zero Thief?
Wait, they went into the cannon. They went cannon. One guy missed it. He's inside the staircase.
Yep, over here.
Downstairs.
Evan, come over here. Jordan, watch the side doors.
I got a Milligan over here.
I tried to see it. They're all far right. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, team right below us, team cannon spot, and that's still the team right above us.
Keep looking my left.
I don't see anybody.
Follow me.
Southeast. I'm on tier Q.
They're still scanning us.
Yeah, come back. So far east zone, you see this?
Yeah, I do.
That's not good for us. We
Still
need
got
to
a lot
start
of kills
bullying
here.
Evan. We need to start bullying. Keep bullying the team underneath.
Who do you want me to scan for you?
Just on
I can
roof.
scan a guy right below you.
40 ups here.
He's cracked. He's cracked.
Labor charge, I'm going back.
He's one. He's literally one.
He got down. He got down.
Yeah.
Is the team still on the roof?
Inside. Yes, they're inside the roof. They're on the roof. They're on the
I
roof.
wasted my ult.
That roof team can easily drop here and kill one of us.
I know. That's why
I
I'm
know.
standing here.
I finished one.
60 on
Watch out,
Bangalore.
height.
He scanned me. Height scanned me.
I'm
Dropped
peeking
in the door.
again.
He dropped in the door.
Herman Miller, the official chair of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Apex Legends Global Series Championship. We are live here in Birmingham, UK in the Resorts World Arena, and today is day one of our 5-day-long epic competition. It is the culmination of a year of hard work for these teams, and things have started off pretty amazingly, if I do say so myself. Hopefully the day continues to be the same. My name is Glitter Explosion. I'm joined on the desk by the brilliant Spider, Tiff, and Dia, and I cannot wait to start talking about what happened. Give me your thoughts on the competition so far, Tiff.
Well, you know how my thoughts are. We just got off the casting booth, wrapping up the first series that we witnessed, and now everyone seems to be kicking things into gear. When they learned on Split 1 playoffs, what they tried to apply on Split 2 playoffs really feels like championships now are a culmination, like you said, Glitter, of everything that they've been wanting to happen. And with Dreamfire kicking things off, man, Dia, that was so cool to see.
APAC North looks really strong just to start the day off. For the first couple of games, it is still early, but what really is getting me about the start for them is that this was something that was created out of rotations, not just winning fights that seemed a little bit lucky, but out of a great game plan. And we're seeing teams across the globe really step their game up, even with South America picking up a win in our first set.
That's why we're saying the day started off so well. But if you're just joining us and you're wondering what exactly is on the docket here for today, let's take a look back at the schedule so you know where we are so far in our competition. Now, we started off the day with groups A and B battling it out nice and early in the morning. We've made our way through that. Now we're heading into groups C and D. All right, and we'll be closing out the day with groups A and D starting at 7 p.m. BST. Lots to talk about today when we get into it, because we're gonna give a quick recap for anyone who might have missed it. The first 6 matches of the day, Tiff, it was insanity, and not even what a lot of us expected.
I mean, hey, you say not expected, but then TSM showed up and they showed out a little bit. Dreamfire, they got a couple wins, and you mentioned Start a Fight coming in clutch. I ran into Dutch on Start a Fight, and you know, it's such good talking to him right after that series win and like that match win. And he was just saying, you know, as soon as we took the roof of that positioning in the wall, we knew we had it. We had the Jenny down. We could see all of the things, and they knew where TSM was, and they knew they stayed in that building, so they were like, oh no, we're not moving.
Yeah, I mean, it really worked well for them, and to highlight a few teams that perhaps didn't get the win, I always love innovation, and we did see, while Startifight pulled out of Watson, we saw Go Next pull out Revenant, which is really exciting. And we are getting a bit of meta variation here and there, which is nice, especially on our first day, where typically teams do want to play a little bit more conservative, play what everybody else is doing. Now they're experimenting a little bit more, and it's definitely coming across well in the results.
I mean, and to give credit to Go Next as well, we talked about them a lot when we were watching the games, Tiff. They were able to contest 100 Thieves and kind of fight them off that POI. It paid off well for them in some of those Storm Point matches.
Yeah, that's where things got really crazy, because I wasn't anticipating that kind of contest to carry forward from scrims. A lot of teams that were contesting at Antenna were starting to elect to land in that no-name area just over the mountain outside of Antenna, but this one, it got brutal, and being able to force such a top-tier team of 100 Thieves out, that just goes to show you that everyone that had Go Next as a dark horse, they were right, they knew something, and they came here to play.
But then at the end of the day, Dia, it was all about Dreamfire. I mean, the top of the leaderboard at the end of that first series, incredible performance out of them.
Yeah, when I talk about the rotations, to get a little bit more specific as to what was going so well for them, they, in our very first game, hit super early rotations, leaving before even 40 seconds had finished on the map. But the change up in that, based on where the zone was pulling, even minutely, ended up being really important for them on their World's Edge games, and I'd say Storm Point both. They had this really keen eye about how to prioritize a rotation that would give them high ground, whether it meant leaving early and approaching from their strong side of the map, or rotating further away onto the slow side of the zone in order to make that work. When we came over to Storm Point, it was a very similar story where we saw them interacting with the map in such a way that they would very quickly find themselves in a position where they could then retain high ground for the next couple of minutes and really stave off a lot of other teams.
Yeah, definitely looking strong to start off the day here for sure, but now we're moving into groups C and D, and obviously all of these squads want to be the ones to be going home with that trophy. So let's take a look at what Group C has to offer.
Jan is going crazy in this game here.
As they fly in, the dojo, they came out swinging.
You've just got to make sure you do what you can here.
Well, had the opportunity, they get the first knock on Destroy, they get 2 on that slot, only 1 left on the East, and Gambare, Otosan!
They put Alliance once again!
And here, Monsoon finishes off.
She's going to drive into trade on the roses.
Here comes 0-0! The captain, the IGL to send it back down under!
All right, Tiff. Lots of really good choices here, but after looking at Group C, I have to ask you which team you're going to be keeping your eyes on.
What, as if Dark Zero ending that wasn't good enough? Alliance in this group phase? But no, it's actually going to be someone completely different that has been making waves. My team to watch is going to be the Dojo, the roster of It's Timmy, Designful, and Enemy. And here's why. This is your team that came first in the ALGS Last Chance Qualifier for North American region. And Timmy, very much like a Shroud, right? Just so talented, pulling the roster together. You've got Designful, formerly on Elevate, formerly on G2, but Enemy, who had played in Split 1 playoffs under Oxygen. This roster has came together under the helm of Timmy, who's being the IGL. Now, what I want to see for this squad is that they make it on Final Sunday. I know they can do it, but here's the deal. Timmy has to have confidence, and his teammates need to trust in the Timmy's calls, and I think that if they can have the trust in Timmy to make the right decisions, and hey, sometimes things go wrong and that's okay, but you trust Timmy, we see you at the top.
I've even talked to the dojo, and I'm sure you've heard this from them as well, but they're very aware that the way that they got here was a bloodbath. They are a very kill-heavy team, and they have this awareness that in order to do that on the World's Championship stage, you need to believe that you can take on some of the best players across the globe. And that's a difficult mentality to maintain, so this first set is going to mean a lot for the mentality of this roster moving forward in the competition. This is arguably the most important set that they'll play, and it's the first one.
We'll have to see how they do. It's definitely going to be an exciting series, but we still have 10 other teams to round out this series. So let's take a quick look now at Group D.
Huge thermite, huge arc star. Absolutely gonna take that. Oh, the beam!
The FC destroyed on doing it.
Classic one, can't get
Nice! Give us 1v1 on the Wopsy, no, it's moist!
Will the Mozart big shots hit?
Compliment. Right here on my thing, getting you knocked.
I like the way that you can do this! MC destroy!
Cannot stand against KCP!
In our team! On the Sheila, bring it down! Oh my god!
It's him! Let's go!
Then Black Hand will take the win.
All right, Dia, now it falls onto you. Another tough choice to make, but out of Group D, which team jumps out at you?
I hesitate to say it's a difficult choice for me. Now, there's a lot of talent in Group D, but you know that I love highlighting South American teams, and we've got 2 of them. So when presented with this, you have to be looking at teams that we haven't seen before. Both Kick and Singularity didn't attend the Split 2 playoffs, and yet, notably, Singularity has made it back here, and they have to be my team to watch. There's no way about it. I think a lot of people across the world know Team Singularity the best out of South America for the waves that they've made before, making it all the way to finals in international competition, yet not making Split 2 playoffs after they lost Elysium. Well, Elysium is back, and back with a purpose, not just to play the role that he did before, but to redefine this team moving into the future. What a team that many have called the hope of South America now needs to prove that on the international stage once more.
I love that, Tiff. A little bit of a different regional representation here.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need, let me tell you. But looking at this, you know, you got Blackhand as well. And I'm really excited to see how they perform. I've been keeping tabs on Easy Flash, and I have seen some of the craziest plays come out of there. So we'll see how it goes for them. J-Lings as well. I ran into their coach, Alex, in the hallway just before this, and he goes, we are ready. We came out of Split 2 playoffs, and we knew exactly what the changes were that we need to make. They dabbled in their legend composition. I sat down with Noises, who is actually one of the nicest people I've ever spoken to early on, and hopefully you get to see pieces of that later. But honestly, this is the first time we're seeing C&D, and I'm ready to see what they can bring to the table.
Now, contrasting our previous set, A versus B, C&D is an interesting matchup because they hold some of our highest variance teams. The Dojo is a great example, so we'll start with them, but being able to frag out and take out an entire lobby is one thing, and yet you've also got teams that sometimes just end up not showing up, end up dropping 0-point games or something of the like. And the fact is that we have an incredible amount of fragging talent in C&D. We have seen them hit such high highs, and yet we've also got teams that can falter really easily, that don't have reliable macro. This is going to be an interesting series to define what this tournament will look like for them.
All right, well, a new series of matches also means a new series of predictions for the talent. So let's take a look at what we all had to say, our thoughts on this next matchup, because we've got a little bit consistency across the board again. Y'all like to be picking those top contenders, Tiff.
Look, I don't know. Anytime someone asks me where I want to eat, I have no idea. And trying to pick out of all of these teams, it is the most scary thing. I just start like freaking out. So I'm hedging my bets on Dark Zero. Let's hope Jen Burton and co are just ready to fry out. But Alliance, I love to see that for you, Glitter, because we actually really didn't get to talk about them at all in the opening show. Mandy is actually returning as a sub in for effect. And if you guys remember what happened in Split 1 playoffs, might I add, we had a little bit of jumping on the table actually because Mandy went off.
Yeah, we sure did. Dia, talk to me a little bit about your pick.
For me, the Black Hand pick is really based on what succeeds on the first day, and it's teams that have confidence in themselves, that have a game plan, and that also have an incredible amount of firepower. As I said, firepower really prevalent in both C and D, but for a first day, first match set for both of these teams, or for all of these teams rather, Blackhand really stands out as a squad that has great macro, that supports a frag-heavy playstyle. They demonstrated that in Split 2 playoffs, and I'm expecting that practice that they got there to feed in really well to their first set on the world stage.
All right, well, it also looks like Genome agreeing with you on the Dojo pick.
It's a lot of Dark
More
Zero.
DZ and even more Alliance on this second page. Interesting. Both Onset and Gaskin going for one of those two top teams in both of our series so far.
Interesting.
That's
very like them.
I'm wondering if Alliance give us the Go Next treatment, because those are the two sort of mad scientist teams out of EMEA, and I'd really like to see them pull out things like Fuse, maybe things like Revenant. Alliance have so many team compositions to work with, and now that they've got Mandy, who has a lot of personality as well, I do wonder what that's going to turn into.
I mean, you speak of personality. I'm just hoping maybe they just get so far ahead that Mandy breaks out a path. We all know Hackett was comfortable on the Newcastle, on the Ash at one point, but hey, who knows what's going to happen.
I mean, if they end up with a point cushion, like we saw with Dreamfire, anything can happen in this series. But if those teams are your favorite, or if you have some different teams in mind that you'd like to be keeping your eyes on here in the competition, well, our award-winning multi-view is back for our championship, and it is the tool that you need. All you have to do is go to the command center down below on your page and choose which perspectives you want to see, which in-game comms you want to hear, or which storylines you want to follow so that you can watch ALGS your way. Make sure you guys check it out. And of course, you know we could never forget all of you at home in the stream watching us for this entire week. We have some epic Twitch drops for everybody that's hanging out in the stream, a different one every single day, and all you have to do is watch for 60 minutes each day to claim those drops. And trust me, you want to make sure you get those in your account because they are pretty cool, Dia.
They are. It's been a fantastic day for me because sitting backstage, I get to open Command Center, I get to watch the broadcast, I get to watch a team, and most importantly for me, I get to have the map open because that tells you a whole lot about the game. So if you haven't tried Command Center before, try it, pull up the map, and you are going to experience the Giga Apex Legends.
He's not lying. That's exactly what he looks like backstage. He just prints out a copy of the map and he's like marking rotations. He's like, where's the ring console? They've got a beacon. It's actually the coolest thing I've ever seen watching him nerd out.
All right, well, we're not going to keep you waiting any longer. It's time to get into our second series of matches of the day. It's time for us to send it on over to Onset and Gaskin. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Lauren, and all of a sudden you hear the games are starting, the crowd starts getting loud out here in Birmingham, and that's what we love to see down there. It's going to be our first look at two new groups here. We've got C and D going against each other now, down into big names in this lobby, including one, Dark Zero.
I'm glad you remembered C and D as well.
Thank
you were going through it in the motions, but we
I'm
are
a simple
here.
man.
And we've got some amazing teams. I mean, for the most part, we're going to see the reigning champs. We've got Dark Zero, and we'll have to see whether we are going to see your son winning. Dojo also going to be competing in these groups as well. There's some mammoth teams here in Group C and D.
There really are, and you know, talk about Dark Zero coming into this. Are they going to be the team who go back-to-back with ALGS championship wins? Well, this is going to give us a really good indication of what we can expect from Dark Zero. No contests on their POIs anymore. They have great POIs for both maps. Dark Zero is certainly one of the favorites coming in here. A hot start for them will back up that. Kind of thoughts coming in.
And I will say, in international scrims recently, Dark Zero have been dominating, especially on World's Edge. Zero now playing Fuse. They look like a different kind of beast, and they were just racking up the points in scrims. So we'll have to see whether that can carry on. Now, other teams that can certainly make a big stomp in this group, you've got Alliance. We know what they usually do in group stages. Of course, they have the change. Mandy's going to be with them, and we're not going to see effect, but potentially it could happen. We'll have to see. And then FaZe. I mean, FaZe Clan had a great tournament that didn't really get spoken about enough at the last event.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think one of the unsung heroes, or maybe one of the sleeper teams for this event, will be FaZe. We also got a little look there, of course, at KCP. Pioneers looking very, very strong at the last event that we had, the Split 2 playoffs, and looking to go one further this time for Europe. This is your map rotation, though. C and D going up against each other. We've got World's Edge for our first three maps here. Smile on my face. You're correct.
It is, especially after we had so much Storm Point back in the day, but it doesn't seem to happen for us anymore. But World's Edge is where so many of these teams are very comfortable indeed. As I've already mentioned, Dark Zero seem to be dominating at the moment. Another team I want to keep an eye on, J-Lings. In those scrims where we saw Dark Zero rack up hundreds of points, J-Lings were the team that were just second of them. They were still able to find over 50, but we'll have to see whether they can do so if Dark Zero are going to be gobbling them all up.
Well, keep your eyes on Lava Siphon. We're expecting to maybe see a contest going down there. And I'll first maybe look at Dojo as well to see how they come out. But it looks like we're almost ready to go in this lobby, Dan. And I've got to be honest, it's our first time casting here at the ALGS Championships. And I'm a bit nervous, man. I'm like shaking a little bit. It's a huge occasion. And I'm sure the players are feeling the same.
It's always an honor to be commentating in any ALGS event. But of course, when it's at the championships, it makes it that extra little bit special. That's how we feel. Imagine how the players feel. They're about to get locked and loaded. This is the lay of the land on World's Edge. As we mentioned, there could be that contest down in Lava Siphon, Dojo versus Kick. And remember, in the other group, we've got TSM dropping there as well. So we're going to see plenty of fights at Lava Siphon throughout this tournament. Elsewhere, most people have been able to find their own little bit of POI to work with. We might also see a little fight happening down towards Stacks. FC Destroy and GO will probably be dropping down there. But this is going to be an interesting set of groups. I think there are definitely teams that can get big points. So if you are one of those teams who's kind of in the mid-table, you need to be picking up regular points, consistent amounts, game after game. Even if it's just a 4 or 5 each game, you'll still find yourself in good stead.
And one team we haven't even mentioned yet, of course, Moist Esports, one of the most consistent teams in the world after their last 2 performances that we've seen them in the LAN environment. They're in this lobby as well. We know they like to get in some great spots early on. We're going to have to see how they perform as well. That is your lineup of who is going to be in these groups, who's going to be in this lobby. Pick your favorites and keep your eyes on them.
And of course, this means we're going to start to see how those comps are going down and what we're going to see being picked by these teams in terms of their legends. And we've seen a lot of interesting meta shifts since the last event. We've seen now no Seer. Seer was like, what, a 60% pick rate back then at Split 2 playoffs, and now he was a 0% pick rate in the early games previously.
Well, just a little update for you. That is what we saw a little bit earlier. That's not what we're about to see now. So we will hopefully get you a little bit of an indication of where the legend picks are going to be going. Otherwise, we'll have to wait until we get into the game to see what comps these teams are going to be running. But it's so interesting, isn't it, how we see this shift from event to event. Of course, we have the ring changes, we have weapon meta changes, and to be at the top of your game here in Apex Legends, coming around to the biggest tournament of the year, you need to be able to be on top of everything. We're going to have to find out who that's going to be, of course, when we get through the days. But for C&D, the first look, it's going to be exciting for sure.
Yeah, and I think a lot of teams are kind of adapting to what other people are playing, but there is always going to be that effort of comfort picks where people want to just play what they're good at, what they're used to be playing on. But we'll have to see whether things change as the tournament develops and people start to realize, oh, well, Fuse is very good, and oh my god, do I see a Seer? Suddenly that 0% pick rate might be changing, and that might be something to do with comfort picks.
Well, here we go then. Enough talk about comfort picks. It's trying to get a little bit uncomfortable for some of these teams as we head into match 1 now. As C and D will face off against each other. World's Edge will be the battleground. Man, it feels good to be up here, Dan. Let's see some gun shooting. Let's see what happens on these contests.
It feels good to be back, and I want to see who's winning that fight down at Lava Siphon. I can already see on the map that both of them are heavily sending it towards Lava Siphon, but who gets to drop first? Who's able to pick up any sort of weapons? That will be the real question for me. Does either team actually decide to swerve off? That could also very much happen.
Very good flight path for Moist Esports, who we always talk about historically liking to rotate quickly. Well, they're going to be able to rotate pretty much quicker than anyone. But there is going to be a contest going down here. It's going to be Let's See de France who are going to be involved in this one. You can already see a little bit of a poke, a little bit of a prod going down. And actually, excuse me, this is going to be the, looks like maybe not the right team overlays. This is going to be Kick in the Dojo. So we're going to have to see how this one plays out. And early on, it's going to be the first knock going for the Dojo. Make it 2. And it looks like this might be a Dojo home ground.
Yeah, I mean, already you can see the easy knocks coming through, and now it's just a matter of finishing here for Designful, Enemy, and Timmy. They are an incredible fighting team. We saw that in the LCQ. This is how they got to this tournament, by qualifying in that last chance qualifier, and they really showed what they were made of, and then the practice they've been putting in. They've shown that they can roll with the big dogs, and I'm very excited as this tournament develops to gain that experience as a squad where they can start to believe in themselves a little bit.
I mean, we did a little bit of content with him. We won't give away what it was and, you know, all that kind of stuff, but I can tell you that he is feeling extremely confident coming into this. The build-up to the event has been very important for them. He said getting the confidence in scrims, playing against the best in the world, has made them believe and realize that they are not just a very good fighting team, but they believe one of the best fighting teams in the world. So having that confidence coming into these lobbies, certainly huge for their momentum as they go through the days.
Well, they take out 2 members of Kick. They are trying to scout out, see if they can find a third, but it looks like Kick are just going to scarper away. They don't have a ring console at Lava Siphon, but do have a survey beacon to work with, so they can at least get a rough idea, as that circle is going to be heading north, most likely northeast here. So this is going to be great for the teams dropping on that side. Complexity in a good spot. FaZe will be happy. Jay Lings will be delighted, as well as Moist over towards Overlook.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see who has that ring console on. If they get that little bit more information, if we're heading maybe a little bit more north, maybe a little bit more south from this, where the zone finds itself right now on the screens. But one team who are trying to rotate here, just in and around Fragment, is going to be Blackhand. And they're in a little bit of a pressurized situation, because if you're wondering who's putting some shots into their back, well, that's going to be Dark Zero.
Dark Zero on their rotation will just try and challenge and damage where they can, but at the same time, Dark Zero will want to move relatively quickly because they'll be concerned about the Harvester team arriving from the south. Because if you imagine you see a circle like this, you want to get over and past people rather than being that team is getting held out and often gate-kept. Looking at the map overhead, it looks like we're going to be heading very far east. One of the biggest indicators for me is FaZe. They were able to get a ring console and they moved over towards Overlook, or at least the buildings just slightly northwest of Overlook. And Dark Zero also going to start making their way over as well.
Yeah, I mean, we do have the ring console information. We are going to be going towards Overlook. And another great indication of that, we mentioned about Moist, had a great flight path. They also had a ring console. Where did they go? Nowhere. That's exactly where they landed is where they stayed. And Pioneers at the moment, oh, they're in a little bit of trouble as Dell has to get away, and it's NRG who are chasing them down.
Well, NRG are going to get the couple of kills. Whether they'll get the wipe doesn't really matter. I think what's important for NRG is they were at least able to survive that initial fight, and then they can continue pushing through over towards the eastern side of the map. And for NRG, I guess it's a chance for us to talk about them a little bit. We are always talking about, well, NRG this, NRG that, Sweet, one of the best IGLs that we've seen. Does he kind of compare with Imperial How? Well, lately NRG have not been up there. They have not necessarily reached those expectations, but it's one of those squads who you just know on any given day can suddenly turn up, can suddenly find victories. And I think we're going to learn a lot about this team today.
Yeah, one thing that NRG cannot be criticised about, for sure, coming into this event was the practice regime. They were playing multiple times a day. They were involved in every scrim, and they were putting in the work, which is, of course, what you need to be doing ahead of the biggest tournament of the year. Blackhand, they're in the respawn village just outside of Fragment at the moment, trying to kind of tiptoe their way towards the zone. And the one thing about Overlook zones that we always kind of highlight is, once you're in, great. If you're not in early, it's pretty difficult to work your way up that hill and really contest. Elsewhere, and a long way away from where we find ourselves at the moment, you've got Gambare Otasan, who are having a little bit of a scrap.
Yeah, Ironblood Gaming on the other side of this one. Also, we did see Kick finally get eliminated, so they were the first team to get wiped. And this is a fight for kind of the southeast side of this map. If you win this one, you should get an easy rotation up towards Big Mord and then Geyser. Gambare, they don't really want to take this fight at the moment, but as I say that, they get the knock, and now suddenly they have a massive advantage.
Yeah, they'll be able to get this finish if they need to as well. Finish does come in, and there's going to be a second kill. Nice spray, just needs to get the finish. Try to make it flashy, falling down from the air. Oh, there is that initial finish, but Dogma will go down. So now it's a 2v1. It's just about taking your time, being patient in these situations. Zone is going to be closing behind them, though, so you just have to keep your eyes on those white men.
Yeah, Ironblood Gaming just frustrating a little bit now. In a 1 versus 2, plenty of armor and health to work with. This is still winnable, I will say. If you can hit your shots here, but now losing all of those shields suddenly becomes increasingly difficult. And yeah, you see, the hunt suddenly comes through from Geo. They know they have the advantage, and they make sure they press it. So they will now own the southeast side of the map. But I say that, Dojo might have heard this, and if Dojo did hear this in the distance, they can certainly gatekeep here from the Geyser side.
One team who's deep in zone at the moment is going to be the remnants of Pioneers. We saw them fighting NRG a little bit earlier on and not coming out of it looking too good. There is still one player alive. NRG going to have to make a very, very long rotation themselves, all the way from staging, of course, to Overlook. And speaking of which, here is the lay of the land in Overlook at the moment. And we mentioned about Moist Esports, how they love to play a god spot position early. Well, you can see where they are set up at the moment, right on the left-hand side of your screens, playing those silos, and we know how dangerous it is to control that height in the endgame.
So the teams that are going to struggle is going to be the late arrivals. Now, Alliance, of course, dropping down at Thermal Station all the way down in the southwest. As soon as they saw the ring console information, they would have known we don't need to hurry here because we are not going to be beating anyone to this zone. So instead, they are calmly walking and marauding their way across the map, as are the likes of NRG. And of course, we saw Gambare Otazan down in the southeast.
There is your map overhead for everyone at home, just to give you an indication of exactly what we're talking about. Pioneer's probably looking for a res inside a Skyhook at the moment, and NRG probably aware that that might be the play. You can see them kind of tiptoeing their way, or should I say scuttling would be a more better adjective to use in this situation to see if they can pick up a few free KP of some white shielded, no weapon players falling through the skies.
So the likelihood is on that southern side, Dojo will hold out GO, but then they will get pressed by Onyx Esports, who are holding down the building just below them, and it's going to be really difficult for them to try and break through, because when you do try and shift through those tunnels, it is so tough because it's so easy to hold those angles and ambush as you try and progress through the northern side of Geyser. But Gambarre Artisan are now going to at least be aware of Dojo, so they're not going to get ambushed. That's one of the positives here.
A couple of shots coming in will give that information away to the Dojo, that there's a team wrapping behind them, and it's Geo versus Dojo, which is fun to say, Dan.
More fun than you thought.
That was really fun, honestly. I had a good time saying that.
NRG are being devious here. Now, they are well aware that Pioneers have rezzed, and now they are just waiting for some extra bit of KP, it would seem. As Sweet starts to press up with the rest.
This is a game of hide and seek. Apex Legends style right now. Zane is hiding, NRG are seeking.
It's a little bit more difficult without a seer nowadays. So you have to use your wits and you have to use your experience, as Zane does get caught out. He's the first one to be found. But it does look like the rest of the Pioneers were able to at least scuttle away.
Yeah, the other two remaining members have completely split away from each other, just trying to survive. NRG do get those KP, but here is Geo versus the Dojo, and I mentioned it's fun to say. Well, it's not fun to be stuck inside a Fuse ultimate. And Dojo trying to hold the line at the moment. Zypher's kind of moving in, but player has managed to sneak through enemy lines here. Up on that rock, Timmy takes some shots in the back. He's going to have to be forced to pop a shield battery here, but it's a little bit of a messy fight here. Nobody seems to have the advantage.
Yeah, these are two teams who also had early fights with Contest, so they're both going to be warmed up. They're both going to be ready. Dogma gets the first one to enemy, and Gambarre Artisan have the lead now. And it's whether we can see any sort of reset here from Dojo, because this Phoenix and Medkit is going to be massive for Geo, because they're going to have such a health advantage going into this fight.
Timmy's going to try and stick the res here. Zypher's playing the height, but look at that angle being taken by Jusna there. He's trying to do what he can to cause problems. Enemy still down, but Zypher does get one. So the Dojo now back into this, and Gambarre Artisan eliminated. The Dojo turn a 2v3 into all of them back on their feet.
Well, they said they think they're one of the best fighting teams, where you've just got a little bit of a proof of the pudding there, as they now win it 2 versus 3 and they can reset. Now, this was my worry though, because they dominate South, they can push through the vault, but when they do push through the vault, it's gonna be a very difficult situation with a lot of teams that are gonna be around that vault side and eyes on those vault little clicks. Now, NRG are going to be moving their way from the western side, giving up perhaps on the Pioneers hunt that they were playing. But Alliance were some late movers, and they've started to finally find some players to play with.
A little bit of the height outside epicenter they're trying to take away. They will be safe inside this next zone. Hack is going to have himself finding a wall going up in front of him, just completely cut off the attempt at the push. So Alliance now retreat. You see the defensive barrage has come down as well from the Bangalore to make sure that they can't close that gap in the way they would have wanted to. But Alliance are going to be safe for quite some time. And I mean, I tell you what, Mandy, what a player to bring in, by the way. He has not let Alliance fans down once, anytime he's stepped on this main stage to fill in.
A very strange position for Mandy to be in as well. I mean, there was the time where he thought he was probably done with competitive Apex Legends, and then kept getting the call, kept coming back, and keeps proving why he's such a vital piece to any puzzle. I'm sure Alliance are delighted to have such a familiar face, and also someone that can step up in an occasion like this. But Alliance seem to be comfortable. They were able to force Northeption off of that height, and they can hold it for now. But whether Northeption re-engage, I think that is going to be the big question here.
Let's head that way.
Moist Esports still safe inside of that zone. It has shifted ever so slightly southern from where Overlook was, so it might actually finish kind of in the cavernous area where there's kind of a little bit of rock cover. Onyx Esports in a great position, and Dojo, who we were talking about a little bit earlier on, being a team who are approaching from the south side. If they can force their way through the vault tunnel and exit safely, they might be in a pretty good position for this endgame. But Northeption at the moment, who are the team who are on the other side of Alliance, just trying to wrap things out at the moment. Wait to see if an opening presents itself before they move up.
Yeah, we've got 5 teams on the western side here who are all going to have to progress into the circle together, and probably will take a couple of pop shots against one another as well, but that's only going to put themselves in a little bit of a tough situation, where those who are inside, the likes of Dark Zero, Blackhand, Pulverex, should be able to pick up a lot of free KP because of it. But you're completely right to focus on this southern side, because actually if Dojo can survive here, they're going to be pretty good for quite an amount of time. I'm just a little bit worried because Onyx Esports are sharing the vault with them at the moment. Dojo went one way, they got forced back into this tiny little choke here. And if they do get spotted out by some of these teams in No Name, then they have to be careful.
I'm interested to see if they try and just hold down the inside of this build, inside of the vault, or if they do make a play. Well, we're finding out the answer to that right now. Timmy taking some damage on the cross, though. It is NRG who are kind of in the vicinity, looking to third party this fight if it does take off. Dojo do can take control of the door, though, and 104 shots come in from enemy. Nice spray from him. Gonna have to use that Callus wall potentially just to stop this 3P being a problem. But for now, the Dojo holds strong.
Dojo have lost one. And it's whether they can actually survive this fight yet again. Designful's going to attempt to get back up on his feet, but I don't think they're going to be allowed to because here comes the push.
Push might come in here, enemy. Gonna have to hold the line. The catwall will slow down and stall this fight, which is one of the best things about the Legend. Being able to take control of the inside of buildings, reinforce those doors. Catwall allows you to get that rest back up. Alliance have been eliminated in the meantime. And Dojo are back up to their feet, and now enemy decides it's time to swing.
Yeah, time to try and swing, try and get some damage that maybe the team can push out on, because at the moment they are being pent up in this building, but it's okay. They can survive here for another minute or so. They don't have to rush things, because you can see the circle is going to be moving ever so slightly north. The likes of Northeption, Dark Zero, Pioneers, Pulverex, they're all going to be in that next circle. So this building that was being so heavily fought for is not going to be good enough to stay in these next 45 seconds.
Elsewhere, you can see Dark Zero inside of this truck, which is always a risky place to have to play, which is why they're looking to have a little bit of aggression added to the recipe of what they find in this game. Jen Burton with some nice shots with that vault. Zero having to take his time to get those shields back up as well, but look at these shots coming in from Jen. Breaks the shields, almost breaks the hearts as well.
This northern side is going to be absolute hell, by the way. It's going to be okay for Dark Zero, who are still holding a very commanding position, as we would expect on World's Edge. Speaking of, Nathan's just taken down Designful, so that's going to be more teams taking fights, and Timmy might need to be helping with his team, and it looks like NRG were able to push in and shut down Dojo. It was a push that was a long time coming for NRG, but eventually they are able to conquer the Dojo team, who has been running a little bit of a muck of this lobby.
3 kills for Sweet as well. He's going to be the kill leader in this lobby alongside a couple of other players who have certainly put up some kills themselves, but NRG, they've still got some work to do here. You see, they're trying to smoke off. They're trying to kind of thread the needle with the rotation here, trying to make sure there's no lines of sight for them to get hit by as they make this cross. They're going to take the high ground, but they need to take a fight here.
Kill feed's about to go nuts, by the way. Northern side is mental as now NRG keep pushing in, and they want to take this truck. They want to take advantage of this damage here.
Big kill coming in for NRG. They clear the way, and now they're looking to clear a little bit more space. Not just happy with one, but they will be safe. FaZe trying to work their way in as well. It's going to be Voice Esports who are eliminated in the meantime. Complexity, they've been taken out as well. FaZe taking a lot of zone damage here. Snipe down, I don't think he'll make it in. Yes, he will. But what can he do from this position?
He can slip, he can slide, he can try and survive, but eventually will get shut down immediately as everyone on that northeast side tries to force their way in. J-Lings go down as well, and FC Destroy have just been able to hold on to this northeastern side and these rocks, and now they give themselves cover. Northeption also eliminated, 10 squads remain.
Oh, Black Hole, big problem here. FC Destroy managed to take it down, but the problem rears its head once more. Amateur left on its own now. It's Onyx Esports who are moving in. They will get the cleanup on the fight and take that position we were talking about.
They've got 2 more teams to their north, though. This isn't going to be fun. FC Destroy get taken out. 8 squads now remain. One of those teams is still Dark Zero. They hold strong in the building we saw earlier, and they have a lot of room to play with on the western side, but they are going to have to move east as Crusader tries to get those extra shots, and will do so with a Havoc in the back pocket. A lot of presence being gained by Onyx Esports at the moment. They are trying to take as much space as possible on this eastern side.
Crusader, a new addition as well, showing why he is that new player that they picked up. Look at NRG though. They're making a play, and it's KCP. Still in the game, by the way. Still work their way to a top 8 position, but again, it's NRG who are haunting them.
Haunting them, but the White Armors are able to get Pioneers so far as now NRG will come through. Great shot from Zane, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Pioneers will go down. Blackhand have also fallen. 6 squads now remain. Dark Zero, NRG, Pulverex, Onyx, Tom Young Kung, and Enter Force 36.
Onyx in a really good position for zone. If they can take out the team just to their north, which is Tom Young Kung, they might be in a great position for that nade. Almost takes Crusader out of the game. You can see it doesn't look like he's got any shield batteries to play with here. He's going to have one dropped by a teammate, which is going to mean a slower healing operation for them to go through before they can get back involved. NRG making their move, and look at NRG. 2 red Evo shields, leveled up. Nathan on a purple as well. They are ready to fight.
Yeah, they're just going to be able to hide long enough, and they don't have to push in just yet, but that circle is going to be closing on their backsides. Pulverix are the team that are ahead of them. As soon as this wall goes down, you have to take the fight, and now it comes through.
Q comes through as well, trying to counteract it here, Sweet. He'll throw the black hole in as well. Oh, Gildersons is going to wrap, and it looks like NRG will win the fight against Pulverix, but look at the kill feed. Dark Zero managed to take down one of NRG as well. It was Jaburn with a long-range frag grenade, and Dark Zero now still safe, still healthy, and still looking like they might take home a dub.
Dark Zero has slowly been going about their business on the western side, but they might now have to take advantage of this angle that they have on the tunnel. You can see they push in. Fuse is going to be the one to lead everything here. Zero trying to get that initial damage, trying to get that information. They have the grenades to work with. But I think the smokes and the catwall should just be enough at the moment to give E36 enough coverage. But when this wall does go down, they could be vulnerable.
And of course, 36 know that they need to leave this tunnel. And they're using a lot of utility to try and do so. The longer this goes on, the more noise it is, the more likely the Dark Zero will come under pressure from multiple teams. And that's exactly what is happening. Now they're going to be forced to take this fight, and Dark Zero say, okay, we'll take the fight.
I'm so impressed with what Zainu's done here, by the way. He was on no shields for so long, but he did push in, but Dark Zero, they get wiped. And enter first 46, they are able to stay alive, but now NRG, they try and pick up on the pieces here.
And they're going to be able to do so as well. You can see Sweet's just moving in. It's only one player alive at NRG. As a 2, Nathan has gone down in the previous fight that they were involved with, but they clean up the damage, and now they completely control the western side of this zone. Elsewhere, Onyx Esports, Tom Young Kung, they're having a fight themselves. Onyx only have a little bit of room to play with here, and I tell you what, if this fight goes down, NRG are in a position to third.
NRG do have a chance. Onyx will try and take the fight versus Tom Young Kung and get a lot of damage, but Onyx are not able to do so. They're still a 4-3 here, TYK. And now NRG are going to be a 2 versus 3.
2 versus 3 here. Tom Young Kung might be able to close this out. What a performance it would be for this trio if they can get a win in their first game here on the main stage, but it's a 2v2 now because Gildersons has just ripped someone apart.
He's ripped 2 of them apart, and now it's a 2 versus 1.
Gildersons might get them all. Gild! A one-man army walking through the lobby. 2v3, no problem for me.
Well, we said right at the start of this set, we're going to learn a lot from NRG. Are they going to be a team who can be real threats, real competitors here in the World Championships? There's your first look at them, and there's their first victory of the weekend, and doing it as a 2, nonetheless.
I think that was a monster game from NRG as well. Didn't quite catch how many kills they had, but how many times did we go to their POV and see them winning fights? NRG, were they going to be the team to fear at this event? It looks like they put the work in, and after game 1, they're looking dangerous.
I also realized how hard it is to say enter force 36 very fast.
Very tough.
I think I said enter force 36, and it's just one of those, but happy birthday. I love the signs, by the way. I love the signs from the crowd. It seems to get better and better every single event. We are raising the bar into the World Championships. I would expect nothing less.
100%. You see the NRG fans, understandably, very happy with what they just saw from their team, and I think the zone shift actually caught a lot of people out there. That's one thing that we should certainly talk about. Zone 2, a lot of people who got that initial beacon information probably thinking, hey, this is a guaranteed Overlook zone, but the shift away towards No Name and then almost back a little bit towards Overlook caught quite a few people out, and you can see it was NRG who actually worked their way through from the western side of zone who managed to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I'm curious whether Dark Zero were just out of meds and out of shields. Zainu, when he was pushing him, was literally on a slim bar of health, but continued to go forward because they knew they had to take the fight. But I think there was maybe a couple of opportunities he could have batted up, but I don't think he necessarily had any. And then as soon as NRG kind of sussed out what was going on down in that tunnel, they pushed straight in and ensured they got those kills.
Will say that NRG didn't look like they were going to win that final circle, but win it they did in the 2v3. And here's our opportunity to have a look at how it went down. I think a lot of it, Dan, was made possible by clearing this side of the zone, coming in and making sure they finished off the last remaining members of Dark Zero in this tunnel to make sure that they had an opportunity at least to third party that fight.
Yeah, Dark Zero wanted to make that fight fast, but it was not quite fast enough. NRG got the last kills on both Dark Zero and Enter Force 36.
Very
And
good.
then from here, I know I got it right, thank goodness. From here, as a 2, you're thinking, all right, well, we're just trying to survive here. We're going for second place. Surely that's what most people will think about. But as soon as you hear all that commotion, as soon as you see that catwalk go down, you start to think, okay, do we have a chance? And then look, there's a nice little present that's available for Gilderson as well.
Gilderson goes, hey, I know how to use this thing. Let me just wait for my teammate to pick up a battery. Onyx Esports do get eliminated, but they did manage to pretty much fully reset in this fight. It was a full 3. Sweet kind of baits them out, and I think that just created an opportunity for Guild to take an off angle as they stepped out from that catwall. You'll see it here, just takes this off angle from Sweet. Sweet plays his life. He is the bait in this situation, and then you see the R9 from Guild. He gets the first one, swaps to that L-Star. A little bit of help coming in from Sweet towards the end, but I've got to be honest, if I'm Sweet in that position, I want to fill my teammate with confidence and say, hey, you take all 3 kills here, and wow!
Oh my goodness!
20 kills for NRG. 32 points in game number 1. You'll take that all day.
Unbelievable from NRG, and to do it as a 2 at the end, the bait and switch was just incredible. What an angle that was being held by Sweet there. I mean, it really just showed his experience and how important it is to play your life sometimes in Apex Legends, but not doing it whilst cowering away and batting. Instead, he was just using that head glitch, taking shots, doing damage to keep them distracted. But a 32-point game is insane. Tom Youngkung and Onyx, I think, will still be delighted with an 18 and a 13-point game, especially considering Onyx came all the way from Tree and were still able to get on that southern side. They were the ones that were holding down that vault for so long, so when they saw that circle shift, they must have been smiling.
Looking at the other end of the table, a little bit of quiet style for Alliance. Complexity, the same could be said. Some good KP per phase, which gives them at least 4 points coming out of that one, but it was a pretty top-heavy looking lobby, and hey, when you're coming out of one game with a win and a total of 32 points, no surprise to see the teams at the bottom there, Dan, maybe struggling to find an opportunity to pick up points.
Well, NRG fans making sure that they are happy and letting us know how happy they are with the sides that they were able to bring as well. But you look at NRG's pathing in that game, starting at staging, getting ahead of KCP, winning that fight against KCP, which I think was massive, because then they were able to kind of build off that. They got the confidence, they got all the shield they needed, and then it was just running a train through everyone afterwards.
So it's NRG who take home in game number 1. What's going to happen in game number 2? We'll find out